To number 4, County Advisory Board to Manage Wildlife member items. CAB members may present emergent items. This time, Mr. Wellington.
Thank you very much. For the record, Ken Wellington, Elko County. I just had 2 things. Number 1 is we've had a severe lack of getting our support material. I don't know how we can maybe make that easier for us, and our meetings are the Wednesday before this one, and so I know the other cabs are having probably just as much problem. The other thing is a question for the department. At one of our Natural Resource Commission meetings, Forest Service came in and they were talking about goshawk concerning the travel management plan. And they stated that they got information from the department about a survey that the department did. And so I guess I'm curious about when that survey was done, if the department knows, and is there a model set up for the goshawk, like they do with deer or elk or anything like that?
Ken Mayer for the record. We'll have to check into that. That would be our native wildlife program. The diversity division would be involved in that. We'll find out what that is. A goshawk has been listed as a sensitive species by the Forest Service throughout its range forever, as far as I know. So we'll have to find out what the nexus is there.
We're curious because when they came in, we talked about, like, they have several nests, and they're talking about you know, somebody walking in or riding an ATV or something in off of these roads would disrupt these nests, but yet they're doing these in helicopters counting the nests. So we had a little bit of concern about that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll look into that, Ken. And you know, it's normally a season of the year, a short period of time when they've got, you know, young in the nest. But they need to be consistent, and one of the things we've always struggled with is consistency.
Thank you.
In the Forest Service. So.
Ken, just for your information, I just got some support stuff about a half hour ago. First time I've seen it also, so you're not alone.
Mr. Yannick, go ahead. Oh, and then next.
For the record, Gil Yannick, Carson Advisory Board. It is my outstanding pleasure to announce that Fuji Park Fishing Pond has been open for several weeks. First, I want to thank Endow for all their support, without whose help this would never have come to pass. There's been a lot of other contributors, both public and private, and it was the day when we saw the Endow truck come out and deposited 1,000 trout, Tasmanian trout, gave everybody a good fight, and most of them were 8 to 10 inches in length, and one they contributed that we called Ralphie was 24 inches in length and weighed about 5 pounds. Everybody was gunning for Ralphie. He was taken about 4 days later by a 74-year-old gentleman from Carson City. And we asked him, would you put it back in? He says, no, it's going in my frying pan. Nevertheless, we've had another 5, I think a total of 1,500 fish placed in the pond. And the nicest thing that we saw the next day when we opened it to the public was families. I mean, a preponderance of families were out there, husband, wife, children, adults, young adults, kids. It was just heartwarming to see the reaction from the community. And so we look forward to having a great attraction for the residents of Carson City and for visitors and from surrounding counties to come up there and participate. And Endow gets a lot of credit for hanging in there with us and finding us money and grants, and C.K. Bailey and Vern Cron from the Carson City Parks and Recreation Commission really worked diligently for a good number of years to make this come to fruition. And I just want to say thank you to all of you.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Flowers.
Rex Flowers, Washoe County. At our meeting, we had a couple of gentlemen come in. They spoke about the Sheldon and predator problems we're having on the Sheldon. They said in accordance with the 1997 Refuge Improvement Act, there's to be a balance of predator to prey. And they're asking if the department would and the commission would take some sort of a stance with the feds on this to either come up with a program to eliminate some of these predators, or perhaps come up with they called it a predator hunting permit for the Sheldon. So I don't know exactly where they want to go with, but they want to see a predator reduction. They want to see a focus on that area. Thank you.
All right, anybody else from the advisory boards? Dixon?
For the record, Paul Dixon. Comments just following on from Ken Willington's original plea to you guys about getting stuff out. One of the things I was disappointed on is that, and I'm not sure where it fell, is the Kirsch nomination stuff came out post our meeting, and the deadline for it is before all of us are going to have our next CAB meeting, and therefore you won't get a unified CAB response on the Kirsch Award in many cases, which was disappointing. I tried to schedule a special session here in Las Vegas, and because of the budget constraints that we have right now, I was denied the request of holding a public meeting, even for a 1-hour public meeting, because of the note-taking and costs. So I realize it happens. You're probably going to get a lot of individual nominations from people this year rather than from county advisory boards because of the timing of when it came out. And the other thing, Chairman, is if there's something on, when you receive correspondence from people, do you generally respond? You've been reading a lot of correspondence, you and Vice Chairman Lent, when you get it. And I submitted correspondence to you and you didn't make note of it. And I was wondering if you were going to respond to me on that because you've had it for over a week and a half, or whether you were going to mention it here.
Respond to some things we don't. There we go.
Well, I mean, you asked that we submit in written comment to you to get something on the agenda rather than verbally like I have been for the last 6 months. I do it in written and then you ignore it and don't give a response. I don't consider that very professional. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your help. Anybody else? Advisory boards. All right, let's move on to number 5, public comment.